Case Study 6, Question 1 reads, assume the role of Director of Human Resources for Saga Food Services. How would you present your case that John Arnett is not entitled to his holiday pay for Labor Day? The introduction. Is it right for the company to withhold holiday pay from an employee, even if the employee may have went against the collective bargaining agreement? The purpose of this presentation is to determine whether or not the company Saga Food Services legally can withhold John Arnett's pay without repercussions. Now, my personal stance is to side with John Arnett. I feel like he had enough evidence on his side to receive the holiday pay and not be penalized or deducted the pay which he felt he was deserved. The reason being, the discussion should be about the personal day he took, not the holiday pay. If it was a real issue, the personal day should be the one in question, not the holiday. The reason being is that the company had a prior precedent set for the company about the personal days and whether or not an employee could take the personal day after a holiday. So the synopsis of the case 6, John Arnett's holiday pay is being withheld due to him taking a personal day after the Labor Day. Saga Foods claims that it was against their collective bargaining agreement the way he went about taking the personal day. John Arnett requested the personal day in the right amount of time, but it was not approved by his superiors or his managers, even though it was still okay for him to take the personal day. John also assumed that his personal day was approved, even though it was not through a superior, because in this, John was under the assumption that he would be cleared to take the next day off after the holiday. John Arnett was owed his holiday pay, in my opinion. According to the article, Public Holidays, Know Your Entitlements, it states that disciplinary action should not take place in the form of pay being cut, including holiday pay. John shouldn't have had his pay deducted, even if it was wrong for him to take the personal day, according to the article. Also, John should not have had his holiday pay withheld because the so-called infraction does not directly relate to the Labor Day holiday. In John's case, according to the article, constructive feedback and disciplinary action, it would be unfair for the Director of Human Resources to cut his pay because the problem is with the personal day rather than the holiday. And now, John was under the assumption that he would be cleared to take the next day out after the holiday. In the article, Employees Habitually Take Work on Holiday, it discusses that all guidelines should be laid out before an employee is hired so that the employee can take advantage of unspoken rules. Cannot take advantage of unspoken rules. John felt like he was right in taking that, but there was no rules against him taking the personal day. And therefore, there shouldn't be any repercussions on him. If I were to side with the human resources viewpoint, the only fault I would say John was in was that he did not have it directly cleared with his superiors. He took the personal day on the assumption that he would be cleared because of precedent set before him with people taking time off. And according to the article, Worksite Enforcement Issues for Employers, it discusses that an employee must seek and receive approval of time off in any circumstances. John Arnett, in this case, did not have approval, but through the grapevine, he felt as if he was right in taking the time off that he did. The plan of action for a Director of Human Resources needs to be setting guidelines for future employees when a situation like this arises again. In the article, Do We Need to Train Our Managers in Handling Grievances? It suggests that a manager should consider the side of the employee without having a biased view of the topic. This meaning that whether or not John was right or wrong, they should come in this with a clear head and be able to work through this situation without further escalating the side's viewpoints. The article goes on to suggest that employers should push for a compromise when it is clear that neither side will get exactly what he or she wants. In John's case, the best solution would be to pay him his holiday pay and then set rules against what he did in the future. In concluding, it is important for both sides of the argument, the employee and director of human resources, to work towards a solution that will satisfy both John and the company, Saga Foods. It is important, according to the article, the importance of good working environments to create an atmosphere of trust. And fulfillment on both sides of the employers and the employees. Okay, Amber.